and welcome to another video on The Rosey Life. I'm so glad that you're here. Today we have a little menu of, we're going to be talking about self-talk. We're going to be talking about self-talk, thoughts and feelings, and we're going to be talking about what Neville called inner conversations, and then we're going to end with a little bit of talking about the ego, character, personality. But I wanted to talk about this idea of self-talk because I notice when I'm speaking to my clients, I notice my self-talk about them. I notice their self-talk about themselves. And I think that many times this confuses people, and they think that they are affirming, visualizing, and imagining and manifesting, but the self-talk is not, does not match what they are declaring and deciding. And it's the self-talk that Neville Goddard talked about with the inner conversation is what creates your reality, creates your experience. Your self-talk is reality. In other words, how you speak to yourself is your reality. It's not what you're saying and then you remain unmoved, the way you see yourself. It's how you speak to yourself, of yourself, about yourself. It's not self-concept, okay? Self-concept is another idea, and it's another idea that was taught by Neville and by many teachers about that you have to change a conception of yourself. You have to speak things differently, but that got skewed and turned into, let me affirm a bunch of things about myself, and then you feel a little better. You might get a little hit here and there with the manifestation, that sort of thing. That's not what we're talking about today. You guys know that I've moved away from that. So I'm going to start by saying that your self-talk is not your thoughts and feelings. And I've been doing this with a lot of my clients recently and giving them a little challenge, and I'll give it to you guys as well, right? Is talking about your thoughts and feelings, all right? Is noticing that thoughts and feelings are like race cars. I did a video about this, right? A little small video. It's like race cars. They come in, they come out. They come in really fast, they leave really fast. Or you can say they're like fish, right? They're just swimming around in the ocean. Whatever analogy you want to use, okay? It doesn't matter. Whatever. They come in, they come out. They come in, they come out. And the thing is that I notice that a lot of people are still very identified with their thoughts and their feelings. There's still this idea that you are that's what you are, that you are the thoughts and your feelings, which makes sense as to why a lot of teachers are saying dissolve the ego, you're not the character, all of those, you're not the avatar, all of these ideas, right? And it's true, you are not just that character. That's not who you are. But you are the character at the same time. It's not or, and that's where I notice a lot of teaching gets really hung up on. They try to separate everything. You're not this, you're this. You can't say this, you have to say this. It's like a lot of still separating. You're not the ego, you're not the character, your awareness. It's like, but that's the thing, that's just creating a lot of separation. You are source, God, infinite intelligence, and you are the character. It's not or, you are both. But what a lot of teachers I think attempt to do, and it just sounds like they're trying to dissolve, and they even use the word death of the ego, killing the ego. It's like so fucking dark. You guys know, I'm like, that's not how I talk, right? It's you don't kill the ego, you can't. Where's it gonna go? It's the ego, the character, the personality is how you get to experience yourself as source. That's how you get to experience your five senses. That's how you get to eat pizza and eat ice cream and hold hands with your boyfriend or your husband or your wife or whatever. It's how you get to experience things. It's you are here to experience all that you are. So to say, oh well, because I've heard people talk about this, like, well, you don't You don't have a brain. You don't have lungs. You don't have eyes. Food is not real. You don't even want to eat. And that is all correct. But so is the character that wants to eat, that has a brain, that has eyeballs, and blah, blah, blah. Do you see? It's not or. It's and. You are source, which is shapeless, formless, timeless. It just is. It's pure isness. But the isness is experiencing itself as someone with a brain, as someone with eyes, as someone that wants to eat pizza, as someone that wants to eat food. It's both. It's not or. The thing is that people have identified themselves as only the character, as only the ego, as only the personality, and they're just like, okay, that's who I am, and they're trying to pull in and access this source, this power, that's within them. They keep hearing this within me, but they're still seeing themselves only as a human, and not realizing that it literally is a pecking order, right? It's my Father and I are one. It's source, the creator, the source of all things. That is who you are. That's who we all are, that one source. And it's experiencing itself through infinite forms, as me, as you, as everything. So that is, but you're not that person. You're not that character. Do you see? You are everything. It's all you. So to say you don't exist, it's like who you really are is isness. And you experience yourself as whatever the hell you want to, as a body, as a cat, as a dog, as an eyeball, as a brain, as pizza, as a ice cream, right? You're experiencing yourself as all things. But just because you know yourself as source doesn't mean that you stop experiencing yourself. No, that's where the game is fun, because you get to experience yourself as however you want to. Nothing is source. No body's source. No food is source. I was just drying my hair this morning, and my blow dryer stopped working in the middle of me blow drying my hair, and I laughed, and I said, and because it was turning on, but it wasn't blowing. And I said, well, that's funny, because you're not source. Electricity is not source of my dryer. I am source of why this works. And then it came on. Do you see? It's like recognizing that those things are not source of you in any way. It's you are source of all things. Love, health, happiness, wealth, joy, your body, everything. You're the source. So I wanted to mention that, because it can go, I think some coaches can go really dark, and they try to get sci-fi, and they try to get really ethereal, and like, oh, I'm just a floating isness, and that's all I am. And it's like, and you're not the character. It's like, you are everything. How can you just be isness and deny something that you are creating as source? You are all things. So it's you get to decide the experience of all things. I think it's an over-identification that you're just a human with a body, and you're trying to access this power, is where a lot of people get confused, and it can go very extreme. Like, no, you are awareness, you're not this. Or it's just heavy in the body with regulating the nervous system, your thoughts, your feelings. No, you are in a body, you have to deal with it, you have to handle it. That's where the extremes, I think, come out to play with teachers. And instead of doing that, you're like, wait, no, there literally is a pecking order, and I'm source first, and I am source of everything. Yes, I get to play in a body that is actually an illusion as well. It's not an actual factual thing. It's something that I'm creating the experience of it being actual factual. Okay. So the other thing about, I wanted to get that clear, because self-talk, right? The way you speak to yourself is coming from your character, right? Or who you are, right? You get to choose and decide what you want to say to yourself, okay? And source is a source of all things. So you're not creating anything, you're not manifesting anything. It's already created, it's already manifested, all of it. You're just choosing which part of all that you are that you want to be. Remember, you have it all. You already have it all because you are it all. But the game is, I don't have it. That's what you're realizing. You're like, wait, I thought I don't have it because I thought I was a human, a limited human, and that's all I am. And I thought I don't have it. But the actual game is that I do have it all. I have everything because I am everything. So that's the self-talk, right? I have it all. I am it all. And your thoughts and your feelings, right, are what come after. And this is where I see a lot of people, they'll say, I've decided that I am healthy. I decided I am wealthy. I decided that I am in love with the love of my life, right? And then they're like, if they say, it feels good, I feel solid, I feel confident, I feel like, yes, I get it now, whatever. And then something they see or hear they say throws them off. And or something that they think or feel, like they're like, oh, well, my thoughts and my feelings, right? It's like I can't control them. They just keep coming and coming and coming. And no matter what I try to do, I try to flip them, I try to change them, I try to observe them, I try to do all this stuff, but they just keep coming. But do you see, that's the thing. It's like identifying that the thoughts and the feelings are not the same as your self-talk, right? I was giggling with one of my clients this morning. I'm gonna grab a water. Hold on. And I said, it's kind of like you say, like, remember, this is what it feels like for a lot of people when I talk to them for the first time. I said, remember, it's like when you're like a little girl or a little boy or a teenager or whatever, and you're like lying around on the grass or you're on your bed or on the couch or whatever, and you're daydreaming about, being a rock star or being somebody famous or marrying your crush, your music artist crush, and you're just like so into it. And then and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, either your mom or your friend comes over and kicks the couch and like, hey, get up. Mom said to go take the trash out. Go, right? Or like, get up, we're leaving, we have to go, move, you got to move over, right? And then all of a sudden, it's like, it feels like they came over and, peed on your beautiful fantasy, right? It's like they fucking ruin it with their like voice. And that's kind of how a lot of people see their thoughts and feelings. It's like they've decided who they are, and then all of a sudden their thoughts and their feelings or their circumstances come in. We're going to focus on thoughts and feelings today because circumstances come from your self-talk, okay? So, but their thoughts and feelings come over, and it's kind of like peas on their parade, kind of like someone coming over and kicking you and say, come on, go take the trash out. This is your reality check. Your thoughts and feelings that's reality. Come on, get with the program, because this is actually what is true. This is what's actually happening. Hello, do you need to see a picture again? Do you need to see a receipt? Because this is actually what's happening. Yo, hey, yeah. Once you're done being wealthy in your fucking head, don't forget your rent is due. The electricity's paid. Remember how much you owe on that credit card? Yeah, that's reality. That. So that's what it feels like, right? So this is why I wanted to make this video, because self-talk is not the same thing as those thoughts and feelings. So when you make a decision, first of all, knowing yourself as source, if you don't know yourself as a source of all things and the creator of all things, you're going to feel like it's a struggle. Is it required to know yourself as source to manifest anything that you want? No, it's not. I can't tell you that it's not, because that would be conditional. However, when you know yourself as the one and only source of your reality, you understand the game. It's clear. And then you're just like, it's not about not reacting. It's just like you understand everything. So there's no more need to react, not react, feel, not feel, think, not feel, because you actually understand who you are. So it's not about, let me learn these techniques to not react to anything. It's about understanding who I really am. Let me understand. I want to know who I am. That becomes the dominant desire, because when you know who you are, everything just melts away. Literally everything dissolves. Your fears, your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs, all of these assumptions, your past, everything is just dissolved. It just literally dissolves right in front of you immediately because you understand who you are. So just because you don't feel or see it or feel it doesn't matter. It's not a feeling. The dissolving happens, and don't look for it. It's like nothing happened. Nothing happened. Do you see? You're looking for it. It's like just allow yourself to let knowing who you are the number one priority. Let that be the most number one priority in your life, is knowing that you are source of it all. But the self-talk, right, comes in for you to decide and choose who you want to be. And there's no conditions, there's no regulations, there's no limits whatsoever. But you can put limits on yourself because you believe in an outside world, a 3D, that's showing you that these are, yeah, you can choose amongst these options. But this is reality, this is reality, this is reality. Yeah, you can choose amongst that. But that's not what I'm talking about, because that's again going to your thoughts and feelings, asking for permission if it's okay to choose or want this thing based off of what I can see, think, or feel. You're asking for permission. So instead of asking for permission, you understand, wait, I'm not the thoughts and the feelings. I have them, but I'm not them. You can have thoughts and feelings, but you don't have to identify with them. You don't have to say they're true, because the truth is that they're not true. You are the truth. Only what you agree to is the truth. So if you agree to your thoughts and feelings that they are receipts, that they are reality, and they're telling you what is true and valid and possible, then you just gave them authority. You gave them power to be true, and that's why you see them. But when you understand that, this is the challenge that I give my clients, is like, just for at least for one day, make the intention as soon as you go to sleep or as soon as you wake up, say, you know what, I intend to see that I am not my thoughts and feelings, and I'm going to observe them all, no matter how painful or hard they may be. I'm going to observe them and notice the difference between my self-talk and my thoughts and my feelings, because they're not the same. Even in psychology, I remember like when I was a therapist, and there's a lot of different modalities, or that people teach from or provide therapy from, and a lot of them, especially the more modern ones, right, we're focused about self-talk. It's like how you talk to yourself. I laughed because I remember my stepfather, he used to say something funny. He said, it's okay if you talk to yourself. He said, just don't ever answer, because that's crazy. He said, so talk to yourself, but just don't respond. Because this is the idea that people have, is like that if you talk to yourself that you're crazy. You imagine some homeless dude on the street somewhere talking to themselves and you think he's crazy. But what if they're not crazy? What if they're literally just talking to themselves? Why do I say this? Because even in the psychology world, right, we hear things like self-talk is how we process thoughts, manage emotions. It shapes them. So your self-talk shapes and manages your thoughts and your emotions, and therefore it will manage your behavior. So self-talk is something that everyone does. I would say I think some research out there is like over 95% of you is self-talk, and the rest is what you verbally say. So the majority of the time you are talking to yourself, and the rest of the time is what you're verbally saying out loud to others. But you're dominantly talking to yourself all day long. Everybody is. Now, when you go over to I just wanted to share that with you, because I like to bring in different perspectives of the same idea sometimes. But even Neville Goddard, in his lecture, Inner Conversations Create Your Reality, he talked about things like mental diet. He talked about inner conversations, like you prepping to go to work, and in your mind you're already having a dialogue with a coworker, and then you get there and you notice it. And then he talked about this in many different lectures, right? But it's not mental diet like monitor yourself, because a lot of people are monitoring. What they end up monitoring, or they end up moderating their thoughts and feelings. monitor. My gosh. Okay, whatever. Thoughts and feelings. They end up moderating or monitoring their thoughts and feelings. Instead, mental diet wasn't about monitoring your thoughts and feelings. It was about choosing the self-talk, like choosing what you want to say to yourself, right? It's like rehearsing for an interview. Like, okay, if they ask me how much I want to make, this is what I'm going to respond, right? And then in the background, you might hear like, good luck. They're going to give you what you give you. You're lucky if you get anything. That's a thought and a feeling. You guys see, this is the challenge that I give my clients, is like, see the difference between those. So you're rehearsing what you want to say, or you're choosing, you're like, you know what, today I think I'm going to go over to the store and I'm going to get some spinach. I'm going to make some dip or whatever. It's like you're talking to yourself all day long. And that self-talk is what creates your reality, because that self-talk is reality. So it's not like I'm going to say this and then that's going to happen. It's like, no, how you're talking to yourself is what you're experiencing. How you're talking to yourself all day long is what you're experiencing. It's not, I do this and then that. It's not, I do this and then that. It's how I speak to myself is what I'm experiencing all day long. So you're not saying something and then waiting for a result, because that goes back to something else. Affirming, forcing, control. It's not self-talk. All of that is trying. And affirming can be your self-talk, right? But are you saying it and waiting for a result? Are you saying things out loud like, I'm rich, I'm rich, I'm rich, I'm rich? It's like, that's not self-talk, right? If you're saying it and hope that something changes, hopes that you've got to convince yourself. Do you see, I really want you guys to soften this whole idea that I have to talk myself into this. I got to reprogram my subconscious mind. I got to change how I think. I got to change all this, because your self-talk is very natural because you're doing it all day long. Your self-talk, remember, you're doing it over 95% of your day. You are talking to yourself. And then the rest of the time is just what you say out loud. So it doesn't matter what you say out loud, and it doesn't matter. What matters is you understanding this whole game. And most of you are talking to yourselves, and then you'll affirm, I'm rich, and then you're like, damn, but look at the receipts. This is due, that's due, I gotta do this. Or you're like, I have the most beautiful body, I'm in the best shape of my life. But then you look in the mirror and you're like, damn, what the hell, my pants are still tight, this didn't fit. It's like, holy shit, it's like summer's here. Like, that's your self-talk. Even though you're affirming, I'm in the best shape of my life, you're like, that's nice, but that's not what you're really telling yourself. Do you see? That's cool, but that's not what you're really telling yourself. You can look in the mirror and you're just like, you know what? I know I'm source. This body's not source, just like I did with the blow dryer. This body is not source. I am source. I'm in the best shape of my life. I love the way that I look. I love the way that I feel. I love when I look in the mirror and I see my body. I think I look beautiful. Like, I'm hot. Like, hell yeah. And you guys all know, that you have that little outfit that you put on, guys and girls. You have those pair of jeans that make your butt look good. You're just like, hell yeah. Yeah. Right? And you look in the mirror, you're like, yeah, I'm wearing this on my date night. I'm wearing this for this event. Hell yeah, like this, yeah, this color looks really good on me. Yeah, I'm wearing, and then all of a sudden everybody starts telling you, like, oh my God, that color looks so good on you. Your butt looks so good in those jeans. Right, you start, because it begins with your self-talk. It's like, no, everybody's gonna tell me this, and I'm gonna say this, and blah, 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 whatever. It's like, it's almost like force. It's no longer natural. But understanding that you're talking to yourself all day long is natural. So you talk to yourself, you're like, you know what? I've always had a ton of money. Like, I've always had money. Money's actually always really come easy to me. And knowing that I'm source, how can I not be wealthy? Knowing that I'm source, how can I not be wealthy? I have all the money in the world, if you think about it. Like, if I think about it, I do have all the money in the world. Do you see that? I'm talking to myself. I'm not out there affirming shit and hope and waiting for it to happen, understanding that how I speak to myself is what's created my reality. Of course I have everything. Of course I have everything. I love it. It's okay that if I see that it looks like I don't have something, I get it. That's part of the game here of I don't have it, but I actually really do have it, because now I understand that I'm source of everything. Who else am I going to turn to for money? Who else am I going to turn to for love? Who else am I going to turn to for happiness? Who am I going to turn to for health? It's me. It's coming from me. Do you see? I'm talking to myself. It's natural. It makes sense. Instead of you're like, oh no, I got to affirm. I got to focus. I got to stay on point. I got to keep on track. I got to put Post-it notes all over my house. I got to visualize. I can't affirm. I can't say this. No, I need to let go. I need to stop wanting it. I need to stop identifying it. I need to have more conviction. I need to do this. I need to do that. You understanding who you are, that you are source, that you are what, that is conviction. Knowing that, knowing who you are is pure conviction. You don't have to try to feel conviction in your answer, conviction in your decision, conviction in the way you say it. There's nothing wrong with you. I've said this before. I honestly think that a lot of people think that they don't have conviction in their decision, because I know this used to be me too, is a lot of people think they don't have conviction and when they decide something and when they choose something, but I don't think that's what it is. What I've seen more and more through talking to a lot of people is like, no, they understand who they are, they know what they want. That is really clear, okay? That clarity of what they want is there. I have no doubts, right? But it's this right here. They decide who they are, what they want, but then they immediately go from that to they were there. Like they were there 1000%. They were in that identity that they chose, right? But then their thoughts and feelings show up and they think those are receipts. That's the fact. Like then they try to work around it. How do I stop thinking and feeling that? How do I stop that? I don't want to feel that way. I don't like how I feel. But what if I don't want to feel that way? I don't want to think that thought. I don't want that. Do you see? So then the focus is no longer on who you just decided you are. The focus is now on getting rid of the thoughts and feelings, getting around them. I don't want to feel that. I want to feel this way. Blah, blah. All the attention and focus is on the thoughts and feelings that literally have no power, but now they do, because now you put all your attention on them. You think they matter. You need to handle them. You need to make them go away. Unless they're aligned to who you said you are, you feel like you're still not the person you said you are, because you're really wanting those thoughts and feelings to align and match to who you just said you are immediately. And you're mad. You're like, well, why can't I? Because you don't need them to. Because you don't need anything or anyone, including your own thoughts and feelings, to feel a certain way or think a certain way to prove that you are pure conviction, that you are who you said you are already. That is the key. Thoughts and feelings are not receipts. They're not facts. They're not telling you what is happening. They're not a forecast. They're not something that you should fear and listen to. Because remember, whether you look at it from Neville Goddard's perspective of inner conversations create your reality, whether you look at it from a practical scientific way, that your self-talk is how you actually process thoughts and feelings. But in this case, it's to attempt to regulate your thoughts and feelings, and you don't have to do this. Right? This is not necessary. You don't have to regulate your thoughts and feelings. The self-talk this theory in psychology is trying to show you that where the source of everything begins. It's like in order to manage, remember, the self-talk is what causes change. The manager, the self-talk, you, source, awareness, is the one where everything begins. So until you choose your self-talk, how you speak to yourself, right, nothing changes. That's why this is taught in that world. But self-talk is not your thoughts and feelings. Self-talk is how you speak to yourself all day long. And that you get to choose. Think about how easy it is to choose. If someone says, oh, the weather sucks, doesn't it? And you literally at that point have a choice. I can say, yeah, it does. Yeah, it sucks. Or I can say, I actually like it. And they look at you all weird. You're like, what? I actually like it. I don't mind it. I enjoy it. I like the rain. And they'd be like, well, yeah. But that's your choice. Do you see? But they can say, anyone can say anything to you, or you can have a thought of just like, oh God, I really don't want to go anywhere today. Yeah, I could just stay home. I could just stay home and do nothing. Or do I want to go outside today? Do I want to go for a walk? Do I want to go for a swim? Do I want to go grocery shopping? If you allow I don't want to. Yeah, I know I don't feel like it, but what is it that I want to do? Do you see, this is the self-talk, and then the feelings are just there, but the feelings don't get, you can allow your feelings to tell you not to leave the house. You can allow the feelings to tell you to leave the house or to stay home. You can, but just either way, you're still in charge. The thoughts and the feelings, they're never in charge unless you believe it, unless you say so, unless you give them the power. That's the only way that those thoughts and feelings could ever be like scary to you, because you handed over your authority, your power to them. But your self-talk creates your reality. It's you. It's your awareness of being. Your awareness of being is saying, who are we being aware of now, Rose? And I get to choose through my self-talk. I choose, this is who I am now. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye.